What's up, everyone? This is Brooks Experience. Today I'm going to be reviewing the new Lego Rivendell. Now, typically, I'd say the set number going in, but no one really cares about to know what the set numbers are. I just want to say, so first off, the actual review of the set, which I'm doing right now, is going to be very positive. The second part of this video, the conclusion, is going to be a bit more negative and critical of this set. The comparison, I have a little more criticism for it, but then also I might do another video where I because currently my thoughts are still rather fresh on this set, where I both love it and also hate it for certain reasons. I think a major fact is that I do not think all the minifigures are a direct upgrade of their original counterparts. In fact, a couple of figures I almost feel like are downgrades. I mean, the Elrond, I think the face on the old one was significantly better. The molded crown was better. But again, that's going to be talking more about in the comparison. But purely build-wise, this is an amazing set. But again, I'm going to be talking about some of my criticisms with this set in the conclusion, because right now, I just want to show you how cool the build of this set is without, thinking about price, figures, other sets, or even just context that's existing. Just purely the model in front of me. That's what we're going to get into right now. As you can see, I've just put the minifigures on some random white plates just because I had some of them scattered throughout the set, and this is just to make it easier for me to get them off of the table. And here we have the set itself. Now, the problem is that I really would like to get a better camera angle of this, but my camera, physically, this is the only way I can do it, because otherwise I have to zoom out. Okay, I just hit up my camera. I have to zoom out, use a tripod, all that. I mean, I already using a tripod, but I have to basically bring it up, zoom out. It's annoying. So first things first, the set actually splits into 3 individual parts. And I think I'm going to go over each part individually. So first up, we're just going to take a look at the side building right here. Now, again, because my camera, some of this is going to get cut off. We're actually just going to start on the bottom. Now, this is actually, ironically, I think the part of it that I like the most. Even though another part of it, ironically, I think a bit more. But over here, I love this detail coming in, the little walkway. I love how these, slope up to these. I don't really know what exactly to call these. I use them with like inkwells or water bottle caps, but going, to this piece, I love the look of that. Very neat. I love the little railings, again, railings here. I also love all the little statues coming around. They're a real pain, because actually in the manual, it shows you, because they have 2 different faces. I just put them all in the same face because I could not tell the difference of them in the manual, which is embarrassing. But yeah, I also love all the fern pieces. There's this little plant that's, covering what's almost looks to be a little drain of some kind. Probably hide something in there. And of course, you can see just the technicals. Ironically, if this was a base plate down here, this would align with Mills plates. I think that'll be pretty cool. Here we have this little, I believe it's just a table, or maybe that's some kind of couch. We have books right here. This is the room Frodo wakes up in. Little bed in here. If I can get my camera in even more. I love the sheets pattern. Over here we have the little mithril coat. We're going to take a better look at that later. I love the headboard of the bed. And let's just take this part of the tower off. And I'm not exactly sure. Yeah, we cannot move the roof. I also love the little candlestick over there. There's a chair. And in the corner, we have a little there and back again book. Let me just pick up my tripod. See a little there and back again. It's pretty cute with a little inkwell. Here, of course, we have Isildur and Sauron. I really love that. I also love this little flare right here. There's also this tower that can be removed. Pretty cool build overall. I don't like that it isn't actually held in by anything, which has caused me to knock this over multiple times. But yeah. I also have to admit, I really enjoyed putting together the roof part. I know some people do not like that. But actually, before we get on to the main section, I'm going to take a look at this part. First thing I love is this little waterfall area right here. Let me just angle my camera down. This little waterfall area, I love it so much. It's pretty cute. Also, again, love the ferns. There's little toadstools over here. Love this tree. There's a nice little bit of a forge over here, where of course you can put one of the swords included in the set. You can see you can go right into the hill right there. Now let's just turn this around and you can actually see in to the hill section, but let's just remove this first and foremost. Get you a little closer in. As you can see, here are some weapons racks, which we'll be removing to look at the items on them in a moment. I mean, at the end when we're looking at figures, because these have all the really cool molded weapons. Over here we have this little grindstone. Like grindstone, like there's a sharpening stone. And then let me just slide this back into place. I also love that there's a little hidden area here behind the waterfall. That's pretty cute. Let's see what else. Again, I really love these trees in this section. They're really nice. I also love this, ironically, the gazebo. Really cool usage of parts. Very flimsy, though. I've actually... My mom would not like here since she built this, but I've knocked these toilet seat pieces off a couple of times now by accident when I'm trying to pick this up. My hands will accidentally go in there and manage to knock stuff off. I'm special because as you can see, this can take a little bit of force, but somehow I do it enough to snap apart, and I'm special. Okay, here we have this really cute little bridge going over the water. You have studs to place a figure. There's a really nice little bubbling pattern right there. It's, again, very cute set in a lot of ways. Then over here we have the major part. You can almost call this, the Council of Elrond. Literally, because right here we have the Council of Elrond. Now, similar to the set Boba Fett's Palace, you can just straight up remove this and put it somewhere else. Here you have a reference to the original Council of Elrond set, which had a Eye of Sauron under all this. But if we just want to take a quick look at this, there's some beautiful printed parts. I love these little seats that are angled around. Use sausages and popsicles. Really cute design work, same with sausages over here. Also, the tree is really cool. They've gone all out with trees recently. And then let's take a look at the main building. So first off, we have this little house to the side. I love there's a little micro figure and some little dove piece. You also have limba spread. If we start turning this just a little, you can see there's this really cool, like, golden thing inside. Again, I love the roofs. The roofs are so cool. This cannot move up, but it's pretty firmly in there. You have this little tree right here. You, of course, have a massive tree. You can see there's just that little golden thing in there. I have no idea what that is. Now, I love these stairs going up with the banister. We have this little map of Middle-earth in here. I believe that's... I just watched a movie. Would have reread the books for these, but I've been going through a lot recently. I just did not have time. Shards of Narsil, I believe, is the name of that. It's one of the coolest molds I've seen in a while. There's also this another sticker right here. Cannot entirely tell what it is, mostly because there's not really like any writing on there, and I am really spacing on a lot of my Lord of the Rings knowledge recently. We have this cute thing, though, with Barad-dûr, which hopefully, because we've seen the leaked Barad-dûr, which I would talk about. I would show the picture. I'm not sure if, how far LEGO's still going after people for it, and I'm not taking the risk. You can also see there's a bunch of these really cool printed pieces. It was annoying to put all those on. I also love these stickers above. I love this ship. Yeah, I also love... I believe that's supposed to be Minas Tirith. I'm pretty sure if it isn't, all I see is White City. Okay, I read the books. Okay, I don't remember what everything's supposed to look like in the universe. I barely remember the movies, and it's ironic because I just watched them, but I prefer the books to the movies, so don't always remember stuff in the same visual way. I love this little forging, like not stained glass. It's a mural. Some parts are just not sticking well together. There was one part of this build that it just kept popping up, and It was really annoying me while trying to build. And again, you can see the roof is pretty well on there, even though this little part's trying to flex. Love the little ferns. I just love this build in general. It's an amazing, amazing build. But kind of, taking a step back for a second. Because again, I've just been uber positive. So let's kind of talk about where I feel like the set has some drawbacks. First and foremost, the most positive part of this set is also, I think, its biggest weakness. And that is the size. It's beautiful. It's a massive set. However, that makes it, again, $500 US. And I own the original Council of Elrond set, which, again, I'm going to do a comparison with. And so, so my Lego, Rivendell itch, if you will, was kind of already scratched by that set. And I think especially, as I'm going to talk about in comparison specifically, I do feel like some of the older figures captured some of the actors' likenesses better. I think for the most part, the modern minifigures, torsos are better than the old ones. The faces on the old ones are better. So I feel like you kind of have to do some mixing and matching with parts, especially, Elrond's cape, Elrond's, hair mold. But again, we're gonna talk about that also in a possible improving Rivendell video, which almost feels sacrilegious, but it's really just going to be improving the minifigures of Rivendell. I'm going to take a look at these 3 minifigures. First and foremost, let's angle my camera down and zoom into these on the table. So first up, we have the new Gandalf. I like this figure. I love this, the robe skirt piece. Sadly, he's still using the old Gandalf hat. The old wizard hat. And I feel like he needed a hair hat combo. Let me just try. I hate when they put beards on figures. It's so hard to get their heads off. And speaking of where I do not feel like a head is as good as the original Gandalf, I think the original Gandalf head was significantly better than this. Maybe that's just personal opinion. Again, there is an amount of nostalgia with anything. Oh my god, I can't even see my camera. Oh my god, I hope it wasn't that blurry the entire time. As you can see, there's this beautiful back robe print. It looks great. One whole cape, I'm okay with that. Actually, honestly, this figure is great, except I do not like the non-hair hat combo, and I'm not a very fan of the face, which again, I think is very simple because this is Lego. You can swap it out. That's the great part. With the hair hat combo, I almost feel like I don't really want to do this, but I almost want to buy one of these hair pieces off Bricklink, sand part of it down, and then attach it to one of the hats. That's a very Lego customizer thought of me, but I almost feel like that's the only way to get this figure right. So let's just put on the hair for a second, and I think this hair just looks great for Gandalf. Let's remove little. Okay, well that had a lot of force behind it. It literally just flew off. Where did it even go? I feel like this is a running gag that I just send things off my table, never to be found again. Okay, there. I got it. Don't worry. So now there's these parts to make them basically sit down. I like this, but at the same time it looks very odd. I'm glad they included these, but I'm gonna stick to having my Gandalf stand up. Thank you very much. So that is the Gandalf minifigure. I think a figure that, honestly, the original, I feel like that's a case with a lot of these. Lord of the Rings minifigures for the time were very detailed. They were very good, and they've aged really well, exceptionally well, honestly. I mean, some of the other figures from that time period, 2012 licensed figures, look out of place with some of today's licensed figures, and those original Lord of the Rings figures are spectacular. Nothing bad to say about those. Those are just amazing. Ironically, this is my first Aragorn, because I did not get, Weathertop. I do still plan to get Weathertop, simply because that will finish off my original Fellowship minifigures. But I actually think this overall is an improvement to the original figure. I even prefer the face. This is hands down the best Aragorn minifigure they've released. And you're going to hear that with some of these figures, where I think they're significantly better than the original. Every Hobbit in the set's better than the original. I'm just going to say that flat out. Every Hobbit in the set, I think, is better than the original overall. But just taking a quick look at the back of his head, very, very Aragorn-like, and I really love this figure. I mean, there's nothing bad I can say about this figure. It's just amazing. Now, my favorite of the original Fellowship minifigures was Boromir, who's a character I have a love-hate relationship with, where I've kind of slowly started to understand more and more where he's come from, especially with the whole taking the ring part, where I almost feel like I feel sorry for him. I don't know if that's the right word, but my relationship with Boromir as a character has changed a lot since I first read the books. I think I've come to appreciate him in that kind of flawed sense. Not really sure how to well explain it, but but kind of the sadness that he was trying to do a good thing somewhere in his mind, but because of him being too stubborn to understand, he ended up doing a bad thing, which, as someone who can be very stubborn at times, I can very much understand the being not always having the foresight to understand that what you're doing is incredibly idiotic and stupid. Such as trying to start the sentence, because I had no idea where I was going with it when I began. But I love his shield piece. It's great. Love the torso. Love the legs. He uses one of the older fabric capes, too. Love the back torso. I think his face is on par with the original. I think the original face is still pretty good for this day, but I feel like this face is better, but I don't think this figure makes the old figure, completely useless, is what I'm trying to say. Love that facial print. Love the back facial print. My only complaint is that we didn't get, a Tauntaun horn or something in this set, just so we'd have his horn. But yeah, this is probably my favorite figure in the set. Next up, we have Arwen, just with her book. Very simple figure. I do not like the face print. I will swap it with the original. I love this dress that she has, but I think, again, because I have the original figure, I look at her and I'm like, but that's not her blue dress. So yeah, that's me. And before I embarrass myself, I just need to grab my phone, which is right behind me, because I want to make sure I do not mix the Hobbits up, because I've done it before, and I do it way too much with the old figures, because, in my defense, again, because I read the books, and the books are strongest in my mind, I get Pippin and Merry in the film mixed up, simply because, again, I'm used to the picture that I have for Merry in my head. Okay, yeah, he has the green cloak, I believe, with the yellow undershirt. Okay, just had to make sure. So that means this is our beautiful Merry Pippin figure. Sorry, Merry figure. I'm a little tired, and I've been dreading filming this video simply because I'm not even really sure about my thoughts on this set. That's why I think my conclusion for this is going to come later. But this is the really cool figure. I love the dark green jacket. Love the back print. I also love the dual molded small legs. Hair's great. I just love that face. Again, I think all the Hobbits are objectively better than their original counterparts. And I need to cut this video for just 1 second because my phone is running out of storage and I just realized I forgot to delete older clips. I'll be right back. This is almost 20 minutes already, God. I'm back. I just got 9 gigabytes cleared on my phone, so that's good. So now we have Peregrine. Love the blue coat. I feel like also out of all the torsos in the set, this one is going to have the most applications other than maybe old Bilbo. I also love the Limbas spread design. Again, the dual molded legs are great. Very simple back printing. Love the half cape. Cute little hairpiece. Good face. I mean, that's all the hobbits are going to be very similar in that regard. They are all pretty solid figures. They're just better than their original variations. Sam, love this figure. Again, great torso. Love the face. Love the small cape. I mean, there's not too much to say about the hobbits, I think, overall, but they're very solid figures. Then we have Frodo, who at first glance I almost thought he was a very similar figure to the original, but it's, with these are just slight updates, but again, the original figures for these were just so good. I love the alternate face print on Frodo, but I think the original figures for so many of these figures were so good, it's hard to have perfect upgrades. But here's a figure that they did insanely well, and that is old Bilbo. I'm so glad this figure is in the set. I have amazingly positive things to say about this. This might be my favorite figure in the set if Boromir isn't my favorite. Love angry Bilbo. But yeah, this is such a great figure. I mean, this might make it onto my favorite figures of all time list. But we'll see when I get there what 25 figures will make it. And well, maybe some non-official figures are going to make it. Oh, I've been playing Halo recently, if you cannot tell. But let's come back down here. Next figure we have is Gimli. This is another great figure. I love the axe. The beard piece, I believe, is the exact same that the old Gimli had. I love just the torso. It's so simple, but great. I also feel like this could go into making some great Norse minifigures. Granted, that's ironically what I use the original Gimli parts for, so... Now, I believe this is Balin. I believe. I'm gonna have to check on that in a second and correct myself. I feel like this torso is a reuse of Chris Pratt from Jurassic World, sorry. Do not know, though. I think this is also a new... Is this new beard, or is this just the... is it just Gimli in white? Actually, this might be a new beard, now that I'm thinking of it. I'm not sure. I love this old face, too. I'm very glad with these inclusions. Just some figures I do not feel like we'd get otherwise. And this is another very solid figure, using that Gandalf hairpiece in white. Here we just have a random female elf, I believe. I do not think she's named, at least. I love the blonde elf hair. Very simple face. I believe this one is from Star Wars. It's been reused in a million places, most likely, because that's how a lot of these generic flesh heads go. But I love the torso, love the legs. Very simple. Would be great to basically army build for this set. Just get a bunch of figures like that. Here we have a figure that's... the head, at least, throws me off so much. Legolas. I love the dual molding. Love his torso. Again, love the blonde elf hair. But that's a young Han Solo. That is not Legolas. I think the original face just captured Legolas so well. This new face does not do him justice. It just doesn't. But yeah, hi Han Solo. Here we have Kaz from Star Wars Resistance. I'm sorry, I mean Elf. Or do I mean Happy Hogan from Marvel? No, but seriously, I do not like this face print. I did not like it then. I do not like it now. It keeps being reused, and I miss when the Ezra Bridger head was kind of being used for different things, because I think that's a much cooler kind of, generic flesh tone head than this face is. But yeah, it's reused again. I do like most of my biggest complaints on some of these random minifigure inclusions are just, oh, I do not like that face print. Here we have the figure I have the most problems with in this set. Elrond. Now, here I actually am going to do a comparison very quickly. Let me just go and grab original Elrond, because he's, like, right next to me. Here we have our original Elrond, which I think is a better figure in every way. First off, the crown is so cool. I love the cape. I mean, the cape alone makes this figure amazing. The legs, I think I prefer to this. I prefer the torso. I just love the gold usage. I know it might be less accurate. I don't entirely remember. But I think I prefer the original. I think also the face is more realistic to him. I might warm up to this new head, but at the very least, when I see the old head, I immediately think of him. Yeah, I feel like the new heads are a little more cartoony in their representation, while the originals had a very Lego attempting to adapt the real faces, which isn't a bad thing, because I feel like some of the original Lord of the Rings heads feel a little off in Lego because of the stylized, especially the cheekbones being a little more pronounced on these figures, and even like here. To the point that some of the elf figures look almost weird next to regular minifigures. But I do not think that's entirely a negative. I do think this figure is better. I will say it. But again, I think even if Lego just had the cape, this figure would still be pretty good. And then we have a couple other little things, which is so they can sit down. You have the little legs for Frodo. You just take his regular legs off and just slide those on. I'm not going to, because I do not like the look of these. I do not like these Legos sitting down half legs, but I will show you Elrond's sit down robe. It's just so simple. It's just like that. Pretty cool. But yeah, so here's some of the other parts. And now we're gonna get to my favorite part of the set personally. And that is, let me just scoot this up more so you don't have to see the ugly blow table. And that is the weapons. So first up, we have what is used as Gimli's axe. And I love this piece so much. It looks really cool. There's a lot of cool usages you could use for this piece. And I'm very glad there's multiple included. I hope if we get minifigure sets, we get like 1 million of these, because I just want so many of these. That's such a cool piece. I love this sword right here. I might end up swapping some of my castle figures out with this. I do not think this elf blade is as cool as the original. I think it should have been gold, but I will accept this mold right here. That kind of rhymed, mold and gold. I like this sword, even though it kind of looks like a pointy toothpick. It's very big. Then we have this new version of Sting right here, which I do like. Again, the shards right here, that's probably the coolest part of the set. But yeah, this is a set that, understand, I do want to release a conclusion video where I actually, talk about my overall thoughts on this set, worth it, again, just my kind of my personal thoughts. That might release in a week or so. I kind of want my thoughts to settle, because right now I'm not sure if I just think it's overpriced, if it's properly priced, if I feel like, I already know I'm going to mention this, but I feel like Rivendell was a very weird first choice. I mean, I'm glad, because that was, the only way we get all of the Fellowship minifigures in one set, especially, Boromir. But I feel like something like Minas Tirith should have been first. I think, again, as cool as Rivendell is, I'm not sure that should be the revival of Lord of the Rings set. But I'm going to talk about that more when I actually have a list and a couple ideas. But I think Minas Tirith could be done very well if you take a mixture of the Hogwarts Castle, that's $400 set, the Darth Vader's castle from Star Wars, and the $400 castle. And you kind of mix those four with a bit of forced perspective, and you can make Minas Tirith work. However, I feel like that set would require you to have companion sets, battle packs, Grond, the battering ram, Oliphant set, kind of stuff like that, so I can understand why you wouldn't want to do a Minas Tirith set first and foremost. And again, $400 castle probably makes Minas Tirith a little weird, but now just I'm gonna say a couple random things not related to set, not related to this video. And that is, I'm a little worried about the Indiana Jones sets. We've seen a couple of them get into stores. We now know the Temple of Doom set is canceled. It might release, but to everything we know, it's been canceled. And there is rumors flowing about now that the Indiana Jones 5 set's been canceled. I've even heard such doom and gloom rumors that even say the 3 sets we've already seen are canceled. The 3 sets Echo Live on Instagram got in hand are going to be canceled. And it worries me. Again, I'm pretty sure those 3 will release. The Raiders of the Lost Ark, Diorama, the Tomb, and the Fire Plane Chase. But there's in the back of my mind, I am very worried about those Indiana Jones 5 sets being canceled at this point. Which would be really sad because that would be, 3 of 8 sets are get released. The other 5 are canceled. I'm still hoping, 7 of the 8 get released. I still want 8 of the 8 to get released, but it'd be very worrying if 0 of the 8 sets got released, especially because it's Indiana Jones revival. This could have been the year of LEGO revivals, but substantially worried that it turns out it won't be, and that honestly would be a real loss. It really would be. But yeah, I'm gonna stop rambling because I'm gonna make an entire video on those Indiana Jones sets, my personal fears and frustrations with how this has gone down, especially because I think in no world should these sets, leak into stores before LEGO's even officially confirmed them. This should not happen, and I think there's a real problem with how this happens, on both ends. It does get fans very excited, especially if something's going to get canceled. And I think also from LEGO's perspective, it's not great, especially with licensed sets they get out before they can officially reveal them. But again, all these thoughts are going to be in another video because I have a lot to say on the topic. Expect that to be another, 20-minute... Not kidding. Expect that to be like a 10, 15-minute video. Because that very much does frustrate me. But yeah, I thank you all for getting through this video. I'm sorry it's so long and that, frankly, the conclusion isn't done. Honestly, because I'm not really sure if I can recommend this set because it's very expensive. It takes up a lot of space. And, as much as I love Lord of the Rings books, I'm not, going to devote an entire shelf to a set. Like Rivendell like this. Again, I think if it was Minas Tirith, I would. But Rivendell, I just don't think this is the set they should have gone with for a revival. But yeah, that's going to be my conclusion, and also kind of just my general thoughts on this set. But yeah, I hope I've at least provided some helpful information, if not some, hopefully, knowledge on buy, not to buy. But yeah, as you can tell, I'm very conflicted on this set, and I almost don't want to end the video simply because there's just so many thoughts I have on the set, but yeah, I need to end the video and, get on with this. But yeah, thank you all for watching. Thank you for putting up with this bull crap. And goodbye.